Hey there you guys, welcome back. I'm back, oh my god. It's been a while, and I'm not going to be making regular videos for a little while. There's a lot of stuff happening in my life, so I'm just taking a breather from the internet and all kinds of other things because I just don't have a lot of time. So anyway, I wanted to bring you in because I just bought this beautiful Sansevieria. This Sansevieria is a type of Sansevieria cylindrica, and this one is a variety called Starfish. I love it. So if you don't know cylindrica, cylindrica generally looks like this one. Ah! I can't even get the whole thing in frame. It looks like this, and they're generally much more thin and elongated and really wild and crazy and wonky and beautiful and weird and I don't know whatever else I can use to describe these things, but see, they just get in the way. My longest one is probably about 3 feet long. Oh my god, get out of my way! Get out of my way! I can't even move. So this one I thought was a perfect addition to the world of my Sansevieria collection. Again, this one's called Starfish. If you see it, I think that it's a really a valuable member to the collection because it doesn't get unruly. It still has that kind of cool look to it, and they're really they're low light tolerant. They prefer to have brighter light, but they're low light tolerant. If you grow them in low light, make sure to water them less. If you grow them in really high light and warmer temperatures, you probably want to water them a little bit more, but still treat them more like a cactus. They want to dry out between waterings, but the length of dry would be what you're varying. If it's hot and dry, you want to water them a little bit more often. If it's shady and cooler, you want to, even if it's shady and warmer, you want to water it a little bit less. So just also, cylindrica has so many cousins. This one is a cylindrica, and it's called Francie. It's so cool. I think it's starting to elongate because it doesn't have enough light. I don't know. But it's really cool. It tends to grow upwards rather than sending out babies sideways. And another one here that I have, I don't know if this is cylindrica, but this one is one that's called fernwood. And it has kind of a cylindrical leaf, like rounded, but as it gets taller, they kind of flatten out and then round at the edge. So this one is a really cool one. This one, in some video, we're going to transplant. I want to divide them. As much as I enjoy seeing a pot full of these Sansevierias, I think I want to divide it into like 3 or 4 pots. Because when I see the more mature specimens, I really like that. This one can get like quite tall, maybe about 3 or 4 feet tall, and the leaves get quite wide. And it's really pretty. I just want to give it the space that it needs to do what it needs to do. And I feel like when it's so congested like this, it's not going to be able to grow the way that it should. So anyway, what I wanted to do today... Oh, I want to show you this one too. Another one from my Sansevieria collection. I don't know whether you're able to see it. I have no idea what this one's called, but I love it. It's so cute. It's just one of these little mini Sansevierias. And because Sansevierias, like I said, they... low light tolerant, neglect tolerant, they don't need to be watered all the time. I don't water all the time. That's my problem. Shh. So that's why I'm starting to get into more cactus and succulents. I can give them the light, I can't give them the care in watering that I used to. Life just takes over, and it's hard to maintain that. Just learn what you're good at, and maybe what you want to grow isn't necessarily what you can grow, but maybe you could grow something else. So just take stock and see what you're able to do, and there's a beautiful plant in every genre of plant. Genre, is that even a thing? Genera. Anyway, what I wanted to do was I wanted to move this beautiful starfish into this funky pot. I used to grow funky, I said. Funky. Heard it in my head wrong. So anyway, I drilled a hole in the bottom because this one didn't have a hole originally. And you might know from past videos, I used to have my ZZ plant growing in this one. And I love this pot so much. This purple is just perfect. So I actually bought another pot for this, and then I looked around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this one. I want to use this one. So I spent the money and I'm not even using that pot. But I will. I will eventually. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this pot off to the side. And I have a container full of soil here. This is just a ProMix high porosity. So it really does have good drainage, but it also has peat moss in it, so it's got a lot of water retention qualities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this grow stone. I really like this stuff. They say that it's made of, ew, a little spider. Hope it snows more. If you watch this in the summertime, you're like, no, I don't want snow, but it's not summertime here right now, it's winter. So anyway, as you can see, all my plants are behind me, so it's winter. So this here is like a recycled glass material, and it's like a pumice, but it has a little bit of water retention quality, and it's made of recycled glass. How cool is that? So I'm just going to add a bunch to this. Not measuring it. I used to work in a fiberglass factory, so I know the glass fibers. That's not what it is. Well, it obviously is, but it's a little different than the fiberglass factory. So I'm just mixing this all up. I'm gonna bring the camera down. I always do this. I do this work and then I don't bring you down to see what's going on. Anyway, let's come down a little closer. Okay, so I've mixed this stuff in. You're like, Bill, it doesn't look any different, but it is, because there's all kinds of that stuff in there. I'm adding to the aeration so that the soil dries out faster. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to make it more pumice or or grow stone or whatever you want to call it. Heavy. If you had some coarse sand, you can add some coarse sand into here. You just want to make it so it's free draining. You don't want to have it so that it pools and it doesn't dry out quickly. When it comes to any sort of succulent plant, you want it to drain very freely. So I'm going to move this off to the side. We're going to bring this pot up here. And give me a second, I'm going to get myself a paper towel just to cover the hole, because it stops all the little particles from falling out, but doesn't stop the water. Okay, so we got a piece of paper towel in there. Again, that's just to stop the water from, or stop the soil from draining out the bottom when I water the plant. I've got a little pot here that we're going to fill just a few inches into the bottom of this pot. This might be a good idea, this might be a bad idea. Lighting in here is terrible. I'm working on that. I'm getting a new potting bench in a few days, so we'll see how that goes. So we're going to take this plant. Let me move this stuff off to the side. Take this plant out of its pot. Ugh. Okay, so here we go. We removed it from its pot. Let me bring it down a little bit farther so you can see what's going on. So one of the leaves fell off. I didn't even try for that. So I'll just move that off to the side. Actually, I might take some cuttings. If I was to cut it here and maybe here, I could probably get 2 cuttings and just stick it in the pot and hopefully they grow. And I really wanted to go with a shallow pot for this because I thought it would look better in a shallow pot, but I thought, ooh, what if the roots are really developed? But as I can see here, there's not a lot of roots, and I've got these little babies and whatever. I should have gone with a shorter pot. Anywho, just going to move this soil off to the side. I'm not going to use that just in case it didn't like that soil, because as you can see the root development isn't terribly great. We're going to put it into this pot. I want it to rest. I'm going to bring the camera back up a little bit so that you can see. Okay, so we want to have the plant so it's about an inch down from the top of the pot. just so that when you water it, it doesn't go all over the place. So I'm just going to throw some soil in here. We'll raise it up or lower it down in a minute. I just wanted to make sure that I get some soil in here. This plant here, the Starfish, it does produce just that singular fan. It's always going to be like this, but I do notice in some of the photos that they get tall, kind of like a Vanda orchid does, if you know what that is. It develops a stem or a trunk. So that's kind of interesting. I like it like this. I like it staying close to the ground. So what will probably end up happening over time is I will either cut it back or take cuttings and start it fresh down at the base, because I like this look that it has right now. Okay, so what you're going to try to look for, you don't want the soil to come above. Do you see? Everything's moving around like crazy. Do you see right here where the new growth is coming out? You don't want to bury that with soil. You want to have that below the soil level. If you have that above the soil level, it could cause some rot issues. I'm looking at the camera, but the camera isn't looking at me. So I'm talking to you guys, but you don't see me talking to you. So over time, we could possibly add more soil to this pot, but at the moment I don't want to go too deep. So what I'll do, I'm going to make sure that I poke the soil down so that everything is firm. I don't know whether you're able to see, but as I move this around, they're kind of wiggly and wobbly. I don't want them to stay wiggly and wobbly, so I'm pushing it down with a lot of force. Succulents can tolerate a little bit more, I don't want to say neglect, a little bit more roughness. Don't really abuse them. I take it back, sort of. But be nice to it, but they do want to have good contact. They want to have support. So you just want to make sure that they're not wiggling around and doing whatever. It also doesn't want to be concrete. Like I said, you want to have good drainage. If you do it like concrete, it's not going to drain very well. So there we go. As you can see, can you see? It's hard to see, but I haven't buried this under this new growth. I haven't buried that under the soil surface. Same thing with this new growth. I haven't buried this one under the soil surface either. It's still resting above. We can add some decorative stones in here. We can do whatever we want. You can even do some moss. I don't really recommend moss because it stays too moist, but you could do something decorative. Actually, a coarse sand would be really, really nice. And then that would also stop fungus gnats if you have fungus gnats. But fungus gnats shouldn't be a problem with these guys because you're not watering them very often. Fungus gnats like the moist soil. So anyway, I'll bring you up a little bit higher so you can see my face. I'm out of practice. I'm out of practice. So thank you for joining me for the repotting of this Sansevieria starfish, cylindrica starfish. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really hopeful that I will be back into making regular videos very, very soon. Like I said, I'm just not in the right headspace. And I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, but I need to put myself first and just make sure that I want to make these videos, because you guys can tell when I'm not in the frame of mind. If I'm doing it, going through the motions, it shows. And I really want to be in a space where I want to do these things, and it was feeling like a job, and then I have my other job, and then I have life that needs to happen. And in a new house, I'm sure a lot of you can relate, there's a lot of things that go on, and it's sometimes overwhelming. So we're starting to get situated, and yeah, I'm losing my train of thought. But so in another later on today, I'm going to cut myself some segments on this one. I'm just going to plunge them into some of the spots here. If they grow, fantastic. If they don't grow, whatever. And if you want to know how to do this, I've done a couple of cutting videos for Sansevieria, so just search that out. I might actually put a link in there in below to a video. And fingers crossed, I want more of these, so yeah. Anyway, until next time, happy growing, everyone. Show me what you're growing. What are you doing over this winter? I don't know. I need some inspiration. I'm losing inspiration. Anyway, until next time, I'll talk to you soon.